Happy Sunday and happy International Women's Day to all you women out there, especially the mums raising autistic kids either with their partners, their loved ones, or on their own doing it solo. Big shout out to you guys for this episode. This episode we're going to touch on all things related to females and autism. So let's roll the tape. Well, like I said, let's roll the tape and get on with the episode. Let me just straighten up the camera a bit. Look at it, looks unprofessional. Probably a bit more professional now, I hope. Well, today we're taking a dive into girls and autism. As you are aware, for those of you who've been watching the channel for a while, my daughter is autistic, so know a little bit about it, not too much. Okay, I know a fair bit about it, and I've researched stuff as well to help us make a show out of it today. So girls in Australia, girls are diagnosed with autism through a comprehensive multidisciplinary assessment by paediatricians, psychologists or psychiatrists, often requiring more specialised gender-aware approach due to girls' subtle, internalised and camouflaging symptoms. What does that sort of mean to break it down? They mask a lot better than our boys do. Our boys just roll with the spectrum more than the girls do, I guess. Girls like to pump the brakes a little bit. Evaluations involve obviously in-depth interviews, developmental histories, also observing behaviour, focus on social communications and sensory sensitive and intense specialised interests. If you do have a daughter on the spectrum, let me know in the comments what their specialised interest is. At the moment with my little one, her specialised interest is dolls, and I have done, I think in January, I've done an episode on that, so I will leave that at the end of the video to link and jump into it. So as we scroll down here, I have got my computer in front of me for this episode. Normally I don't. Normally I just sort of roll. I'm not going to use roll with the spectrum again, okay? But normally I just sort of roll off my head, and I have been talking about more of my life and my challenges over the past couple of episodes. This one being International Women's Day, I'm bringing it back to sort of the basics and just explaining how girls in Australia get assessed, and then I'll roll on to the differences between worldwide kids with autism of the female type, and obviously compared to Australia as a whole. And we'll see where that takes us towards the end of the video. So, like I said, a bit more in depth with diagnosing girls, obviously due to their ability to mask better than most of our lads out there. Not saying your boy does or doesn't mask, but hey, is what it is in that area, I guess. So assessment process often includes observation or play interaction, development history and questionnaires to be completed by the parents, teachers, or caregiver for that matter, due to the tendency that girls mask, as I mentioned before. So it's the word I always get wrong. The people in the clinics. Sorry, it's autism or something to that effect. Dyslexia, I can't read. I've got the lot, so don't stress. I'm not taking the mickey out of anybody when I suffer with all this stuff myself. So you must look beyond the traditional male-centric presentations, I guess, in autism. So a little bit more in depth. We couldn't get our daughter diagnosed until she was 6, where we know that a lot of boys in Australia get diagnosed around 4 or 5, as opposed to 6, 7 years of age. So signs in girls present differently. They exhibit better language skills, higher social motivations, despite the difficulties they have internally with that stuff. What else do they have? They have often socially focused interests like animals, arts, people. So like I said, in my daughter's case, it's dolls, but a doll in her mind is a people. So when she does go out places, that doll becomes a real person and she cares for it accordingly. Yeah, so that's some of the some of the signs they face. Some of the challenges they may face as girls with autism. Obviously diagnosed later than boys because their ability to mask and be more sociable in a social setting, or more compliant in the school setting. Most of you know boys with ADHD in the classrooms are just little shits. Even neurotypical kids, boys are little shits in the classroom compared to girls. Girls always seem to be the little goody two-shoes, and hey, we love them for that. So, but like I said in other videos, the diagnosis and the spectrum for autism, the glove doesn't fit one hand. The old adage, horses for courses, same with diagnosing autism in children, or any human for that matter. It could roll on to a wide range of spectrums. One kid may present with this, this, and this, where the other one presents with that, that, and that. So, not one glove fits all. It's more of a personalised, diagnosis for each person out there. So the multidiscipline team, so specialised social clinics such as, reading from my notes here, Autism WA, which I would like to get them on the show one day for a great chat. And because obviously I'm in West Australia, that's why I got Perth Glory there behind me. But yeah, it's Autism WA or Autism Spectrum Australia, which is Aspect. So I am doing a walk for autism in the month of May, and Autism Aspect are the people that run it to raise money for autism. I will leave the link in the description, so hopefully if you guys can be kind enough to send us a few dollars to donate for the cause. Beautiful. So yeah, often the team of expertise from those teams, so psychiatrists, psychologists, speech pathologists, and so on, are there to provide the evolution for the diagnosis for the kids. How they do it in Australia to get your lovely little lady referred, or not referred, diagnosis rolling. So obviously a referral from the GP to a paediatrician, and then roll onto a child psychologist, then obviously go through the whole assessment, and then you get your support. Obviously support can happen with anybody through NDIS. I believe Autism South Australia and Autism Tasmania, sorry if I've got your name slightly muddled up there. I know Tasmania's government funded, so you won't have to pay a cent. Other states, you will have to pay your premium for that. A bit of a money maker sometimes. Is it fair? I don't know. Should it be free? Absolutely. Should there be more support for everybody? I 100% agree with that. Whole reason for this channel is to push that support and awareness out there in the community. Yeah, and then obviously your support will be tailored to your child's needs. So your behavioural therapist, your OTs, your school EAs and stuff like that. So, or even specialised education that they may need. So, yeah, it all happens with those little buggers. And yeah, and that's pretty much getting your young girl, even your young boy, diagnosed with autism in Australia. Like I said, we've had a few issues in the past with our daughter getting diagnosed with, at least with ADHD as well, which we knew she had from the get-go. I was a bit skeptical on the old autism thing because personally I didn't see any signs. Maybe that's because she'd done what I did and I thought it was normal. So there you go. So that's that side of the conversation. So we will now roll in with the stats between how many diagnosed girls and the ratio in Australia to, say, the rest of the world. So So autism diagnosis rates for girls in Australia are among the highest in the world, with identifying efforts growing significantly faster than any other nation. I don't know what the reason for that is. I will do a bit of a dive and maybe have a separate show on the reason why. But if we use our heads here, it's probably because we got one of the better countries in the world to get our kids diagnosed with autism, and probably a bit more onto it than some other countries in the world. I don't know, that's just my belief, that's my way of thinking. Could be wrong, I could be right, I don't know. So Australia versus the world. Let's have a look here. So prevalence in girls in 2022, so 0.7% of Australian females had been diagnosed with autism. That's nearly equal to the global average for all children, obviously, which is heavily skewed by the male rates. So on average, all children in the world is 0.77%, and all the girls within Australia pretty much equal that. Obviously, it goes by per capita, I guess. But yeah, so a bit of a skew if trend there if you're up to speed with your mathematics. The growing trends, the number of diagnosed females in Australia has increased by 95.5% between 2018 and 2022. So far outpacing the 24.2% growth in male diagnosis within Australia. The national comparison, so Australia identifies 1 in 25 children with autism compared to 1 in 36 in the United States and 1 in 100 children globally. So if you take that, out of 1 in 25 children, so 1% of that would be your females, I guess, if that's how we're looking at it. But the gender gap here, so historically it's 3-to-1 ratio. The global diagnosis was 3-to-1 males to females, but now it's shortened to 3-to-1. But modern research suggests that the truer ratio is 3-to-1 or even closer, as screening for females is starting to improve. So that number should close in years to come. Has more females are getting recognised with autism. Narrowing the gap in Australia, the males were 3.5 times more likely to be diagnosed, but by 2022 they're only about twice as likely than girls. So it's starting to even out here in Australia due to testing and screening by our medical professions out there. When we did go through ours with our daughter, especially in Darwin, the only male input we had was the male paediatrician, and that's the same here down in Perth. All other support elements, your OT, behavioural therapists, psychiatrists, psychologists for our daughter from Darwin and in WA have all been females. So it is a heavily female stacked profession, diagnosing children with autism. So I'd probably say that the amount of females in that field can recognise the traits in girls better than us males, because through a different lens, obviously. I don't think there is. I think they're less biased than men, to be honest, too. Traditionally, that's just my opinion. So don't come at me saying, "Oh, men are better, girls are better, women are better." We're all equal in a sense, but some genders do it better than others. Let's just say that, like in many different things. So there's not one gender better than the rest. I think they've all got their pros and cons, same as individual people. And same with autism, it's got its pros and cons. Today, had a wonderful afternoon at the swimming pool with the little one, working on the tan. Probably a bit sunburn up there. So now ADHD is kicking in because it's getting late in the day here in Perth, and I'm just sort of wondering now. Getting back to the stats on the screen here, the drivers of higher rates in Australia. So NDIS Impact, the National Disability Insurance Scheme, which is going under an overhaul at the moment, and a lot of kids are going to jump onto the Thriving Kids scheme, and that's caused a big uproar. I've done 2 videos on that. Hope you guys have a chance to go and watch it. I will leave to the the 2026 roll in our playlist at the end here, and I'll put that, what's the other one I said I'll put in? I'll go back and rewind the tape and put the episode here, the doll one, dolls. Dolls be here or there, and the Thriving Kids will be here or there, whichever works when I upload it to YouTube Studio and get it out there for you guys to go viral. So like and subscribe. Anyways, yes, so the incentive for formal diagnosis to assess support, which is likely to accelerate the identification rates in girls. Advanced guidelines, like I said, Australia implements the first national guidelines in 2018 and updated quite recently in 2023, specifically to standardise and improve the accuracy of assessments. So a lot of girls used to fall through the cracks. However, with a new way of diagnosing people with autism, a lot of girls are getting caught in the trap and getting diagnosed as they should. And I think, like I said, the more females going into this field as well can identify it better in females, because boys obviously don't mask as much as what the girls do. So that probably helps a lot. It is International Women's Day today. If you're watching Sunday, the 8th of March. Again, a big shout out, like at the start of the video, tears. So would you like to know more about specific symptoms? No, English issues. No, I think we've covered enough there. So just recapping on what we learnt, more girls in Australia are being diagnosed with autism and cared for appropriately than what they did back in the early 2000s and rolling back into the 90s, when a lot of people were aspergers, which is now, that's right, autism level 1, borderline 2 maybe. It's just overall the world is getting smarter when it comes to diagnosing mental health issues and neurodivergent issues such as your bipolars, your schizophrenia, your ADHD, your autism spectrum, and stuff like that. So, and there's a lot of people out there to help the interaction, help the kids out with their with whatever problems they receive from their diagnosis, whether it's behavioural therapy or speech therapy. Obviously, because there's a lot of kids on the spectrum that I know people don't like the word non-verbal, but have trouble communicating with their words, with their voice is probably the best way to put it, because we have seen young kids out there who haven't spoken and can sing a song or verbalise other ways. So I wouldn't call it non-verbal. I think that's a bit too overused in society with regards to that. But so that's pretty much all I've got for today's episode. If you have made it this far in the video, please do us a favour, like, subscribe, comment, tell your friends, your family, your co-workers, your young co-workers, tell everybody. Let's raise awareness for autism. And like I said, halfway through the video, I am doing the Walk for Autism in May. I am scheduled to go to the UK at the end of May, so there may be a few videos from the Walk for Autism in certain parts of the UK. Fingers crossed I can still go with Donald Trump and his antics at the moment, and where we all stand with that, I don't know. But like I said, thank you for watching, and like I say at the end of each episode, guys, peace, love and autism.